continent of Africa, a land of great diversity and potential. But for decades, the people of Africa have faced challenges such as poverty, war, and political instability. Some argue that a united Africa could better address these issues and provide a stronger voice on the global stage. The new state would officially become the biggest country in the world by surface area. It will be the third most populous nation, only behind China and India, and will have the youngest population demographic. This economy will be backed by some of the most traded raw materials and minerals in modern history. Join us explore the potential of such a reality. This is yeloInsights. The idea of a united Africa is not a new one. The concept of a United States of Africa refers to the unification of countries of Africa into a single confederation, similar to the United States of America. This would involve creating a single government and economy in order to promote peace and development throughout the continent. The term United States of Africa was made popular by Marcus Garvey, Jamaican-born political leader, publisher, journalist, and orator who was a leading proponent of the Back to Africa movement. He advocated for the political, economic, and social uplift of the black people around the world and was a strong proponent of the idea of a united Africa, free from colonial rule and outside interference. He also believed that a United States of Africa was a critical step in the building of an independent and prosperous Africa, and that it would be a political and economic power in the world. During the decolonization era in Africa, leaders such as Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, and Nigeria's first prime minister, Abubakar Tafawa, proposed the formation of a united Africa. However, these attempts at unification did not come to fruition, in part because of the Cold War and competing interests of Western and Eastern countries in Africa. A breakthrough came about when the African Union was established in 2002. This is a regional intergovernmental organization that aimed at promoting greater unity and cooperation among African countries. It brought together 54 African countries under a common banner. The AU had many of the features of a federal government, including a common parliament, a central bank, and a court of justice. However, it lacked some of the powers and autonomy of a fully federal union, and many African countries had been hesitant to give up their sovereignty to a supranational organization. There have been several reasons why the idea of a United States of Africa has been pursued. The first being promotion of unity and cooperation. The most obvious reason for pursuing a united Africa is to promote greater unity and cooperation among African nations. A united Africa would be able to speak with a single voice on the global stage and be better able to address issues that affect the continent as a whole, such as poverty, underdevelopment, and conflict. A united Africa will be able to address political and economic issues that have long plagued the continent, such as authoritarianism, corruption, and underdevelopment. A united Africa will be able to exert greater political and economic influence on the global stage and be better able to promote its own interests. It would also be able to resist external influence and intervention and better protect the continent's resources and people. This would help to ensure the continent's wealth and resources are used for the benefits of its people rather than being exploited by outside interests. By uniting around a common goal, it will be able to overcome the ethnic and political conflicts that have hindered development and progress. A united Africa would also be able to defend itself against external threats and become a more powerful player in the global arena. However, there have been several challenges that have hindered the realization of a united Africa. These include deep-seated ethnic and political division. Africa is a diverse continent with a wide variety of ethnic groups, languages, and cultures. These deep-seated ethnic and political divisions have often been exploited by leaders and outside interests, which has led to conflicts and civil wars. It's important to note that these divisions have not only caused conflicts, but have also been used as a tool to maintain power by the ruling elites. Ongoing conflicts. Many African nations are currently experiencing ongoing conflicts which have displaced large number of people and caused widespread suffering. These conflicts make it difficult for African nations to come together and form a united front. It also diverts resources away from development and furthers the gap between the rich and the poor. Disparate levels of development and economic prosperity. Africa is a continent with a wide range of levels of development and economic prosperity. Many African nations are still recovering from the legacy of colonialism and are struggling with poverty, underdevelopment, and weak infrastructure. These disparities in wealth and development make it difficult for African nations to form a united front and find common ground. Legacy of colonization. The legacy of colonization also continues to play a role in the lack of unity and cooperation in Africa. The arbitrary borders imposed during the colonial era often separated ethnic groups and led to deep-seated divisions that continue to fuel conflicts today. The legacy of colonization has also left many African countries with fragile economies, poor infrastructure, and other legacies that contribute to the ongoing poverty and underdevelopment. External interests. The involvement and interest of external actors such as powerful countries and international organizations can also impede the process of unifying Africa. These actors may have their own interests that do not align with the interests of African nations. While a united Africa may be a long way off, it is important to note that countries in Africa have tried to achieve some sort of political and economic unification in the short term. Examples include the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, the Southern African Development Community, SADC, the Eastern African Community, EAC, the Arab Maghreb Union, AMU, and the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. The African Continental Free Trade Area was launched in 2019. It aims to create a single market for goods and services, to deepen economic integration and enhance intra-African trade. The goal is to create a market of 1.2 billion consumers with a GDP of $2.5 trillion. It's important to note that AFCFTA is still ongoing and it's too soon to assess its full impact. The agreement will remove tariffs of 90% of goods traded among the participating countries and will also liberalize services trade, movement of business persons, and investments among the countries. The creation of a single market will also streamline regulations and standards to facilitate trade. Its implementation and success will depend on the willingness and ability of participating countries to fully comply with the agreement. Ultimately, the implementation of a United States of Africa will depend on the willingness of African countries to give up some of their sovereignty and to work towards common goals. This could be a difficult process as many African countries have a strong sense of national identity and may be hesitant to cede control to a supranational organization. The discussion of this idea is, however, still an important one, as it encourages us to think about how we can work together to address the many challenges that face the continent. It serves as a reminder that we are all part of the same global community and that together we can work towards a better future for all of Africa's people. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. And while at it, also hit the notification bell to stay up to date. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.